morning, Nigeria, and welcome to Morning Break. I am your host, Ikokuchidozie Kimber.
I'm Ijoma Uba.
And I am Abbas Muhammad.
A quick rundown of the news we have for you today. FG shuts down 35 million social media accounts. Lagos LP chairman says Peter Obi influence is dwindling. Cleric predicts Tinubu may lose 2027 on one divine intervention. Atiku reacts to Katsina Mosque massacre, blast FG on insecurity. IJ, 13.5 million social media accounts shut down. And the reason is because they're trying to protect Nigerians. Are they protecting Nigerians or are they protecting politicians?
So they said the accounts were in violation of the country's code of practice. So following up with our conversation, from our conversation yesterday, with the cyberbullying of Nkubi, and I think that yes, this is good because Nigerians don't know where to draw the line. They don't know where they've gone too far. So if they're actually cracking down on people that are crossing the limits of what they're supposed to say or how they're supposed to interact online, then it is good that these accounts are being shut down. However, it must be very transparent, and we hope that this is not an excuse to stifle free speech in Nigeria or to stop people basically from expressing their opinions or from criticizing the government. We don't want to wake up tomorrow and hear that David Hundeyi's account has been shut down, for example. So, let's just hope that it's transparent.
Well, officials claim that it was actually trying to clamp down on spreading of hate speech, pornography, misinformation. About 59 million posts were flagged and removed. And one would ask, at what point and where and how did they come to actually find out that these were posts that were reflecting of ill vices, misinformation spreading, and whose policy are they acting upon?
Well, I wouldn't know whose policy they're acting upon right now. I would say that if they are cracking down on them or they are shutting down this account because of, I heard all the things you listed, misinformation was one of them. That means we have our eyes on some persons that are within the political party or the ruling political party rather. So there are some people that are responsible for misinforming Nigerians that are in the ruling party, very close to Aso Rock. And I'm hoping that we'll see that the accounts are shut down as well.
Yeah, because in the last administration, we had a Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, who actually went strongly on Twitter. And actually, Twitter was banned from operating in Nigeria. And looking back again, Mohammed Abbas, let's not forget that social media actually played a very vital role at the NSAS process. Now, are they actually clamping down on to be online activists as we move into the 2027 election?
Well, like you said, it's all about the issue of transparency, If the government had been, open about issues like this, clamping, if truly the goal here is to clamp down on offensive content, and sensitive content and code violations, I believe it should have started a long while ago. But the only evidence Nigerians have on this move is, like you mentioned, the NSAS period, whereby we saw that there was a lot of activism going on. There was one voice from the youth, from the society, using the social media platform. But then the government silenced the citizens using that platform. So it shows the power of the government. I believe if there was already an ongoing campaign to clamp down on offensive content before this period, it will have been a welcome idea. But now Nigerians are second guessing, they are doubting. Is the government actually after their own opinion, after their own interest or their own interest? Just like you mentioned, it will be wrong to announce, see certain content from activists being taken down or accounts being taken down just because the government considers it offensive, maybe something not verifiable, because we've seen, in broad daylight whereby certain activists have been taken, physically abducted and stuff, and then they come out and, well, they can't really speak about what's happened to them, but all they can say is that their rights were being violated. So you can imagine how it will happen on social media. Social media is supposed to be a safe haven, a form of voice for the voiceless. And then if this voice is being silenced through these methods, of closing down accounts, removing content. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, because if we look at the social media bill, which actually places the age as 16 for any offense related to social media misappropriation, misinformation, or either pornography and or thereabout. But one would ask a very critical question: who are those that actually being protected at this point? Because we have people politicians who have complained severally that they have been abused. Even the current president, before the election, said he was widely abused and he does not go to the social media. Now, one will begin to ask, who exactly is actually sponsoring such clampdown? Because if we are just 27 is just in 2 years' time, and we are talking about clamping down 59 million posts, we have been flagged. That's a lot. So now, which and who are we protecting?
Well, like you said, the president already complaining about the social media being a form of platform where, well, I think what the president did not take into consideration, apart from, yes, there are people who are abusing him and whatnot, these will always exist, be it social media, online or offline. Things, people like this will exist. Now, the issue here is he's ignoring the fact that this is also a platform where the people can voice out their opinions, where he can keep in touch with the citizens. If he was on social media, yes, you will be having cyberbullying and whatnot. But if this particular move that we're seeing already, that so many millions of accounts and posts have been taken down, if this is active, the president can also feel safe being on the internet, being on social media. He can interact with his people, he can interact with the citizens, and I believe it can become a conditional reference. So yes, I would say yes, good on the government for taking this initiative. Yes, it's right. I feel like it's okay, because there are a lot of things we see on social media, and we're wondering how things like this fly, because yes, some people feel like social media is a lawless or a law-free avenue for them, to commit certain crimes, acts, posting of people's content, violent and stuff. But if this move is taken seriously, we can all feel safe. We can all feel safe as long as the government does not make any move, to abuse it, where the people do not feel like they are being silenced. I believe it should be a welcome move.
Well, I think we need to take this to our social media platforms, where we need to ask Nigerians, do you feel safe or silenced? Because Nigerians need to speak with one voice, and we have to understand where we're going. Moving on to another very interesting story, where the Labour Party chairman in Lagos State has said that Peter Obi's political influence is dwindling or disappearing, as I may say. And one would ask, at what point did she feel that it was dwindling? But she cited that the consistent losing of Labour Party from Edo to Anambra, from Anambra to other states. So she's saying that even in the Edo, where the Obedience were a very strong voice for Peter Obi, he could not even win the elections there. In Lagos State, where he also made a very good outing during the presidential election, that Peter Obi has actually faded out completely. And when a Labour Party chairman in Lagos State is saying such thing about a presidential candidate who actually brought in an euphoric nature into the political scene, and one is hearing from the party chairman that he has lost his touch in the political scene, what do you have to say?
I'll say, with all due respect, the Lagos LP chairman might be delusional. I say so because this statement or this warning borders on three things: the consistent loss across these two states, the internal crisis within the party, and, as they claimed, P2B's lack of strong leadership within the party. Now let's examine, or let's explore these things. Now, if you're saying that there's a loss across these states and that these losses are why P2B's popularity is dwindling, I will make it clear that there's P2B on one hand and there's Labour Party on the other. Labour Party lost their elections. So for you to come out and say that because Labour Party lost its elections, that P2B's influence is dwindling is just wrong. If you're going to say something like that, at least conduct a poll, come out with the facts of these polls, and then say that this is the result of the polls, that his influence is actually dwindling. But because he lost an election where he was not even on the ballot, he was not running, and you say because these elections were lost that P2B's influence is doing it's delusional.
IJ, don't forget that many candidates who won the last election won because Peter Obi was on the ballot.
Yes, but
Because
P2B is not running for an election right now.
Because he was a Labour Party candidate, and he was the voice of the obedience, because he was leading at the forefront. Now, looking at what she just said, a Labour Party chairman in Lagos State is not just another Labour Party chairman. This is a party whereby in the last general election, he won overwhelmingly. In Lagos State, the current president is from Lagos State. And now the party chairman is telling you that if you can lose in Lagos, you can lose in Edo, in Imo, and in Anambra. And she also stated that it's the inconsistent endorsement that is coming from Peter Obi. Today he's endorsing PDP, tomorrow he's endorsing ADC. That is what is confusing his followers. I don't know what Mohammed Abbas has to say.
No, hold on. There's an obedient movement, right? To the best of my knowledge, there's an obedient movement that has categorically stated that they are not interested. Hold on. This obedient movement, we know, you and we both know that there is an obedience movement. And this obedience movement has categorically stated.
I don't know an obedience
movement. No,
they've
said it over and over again that they are not interested in Labour Party as a party. If we will remember during the 2023 elections, they were raising funds to support his election. And in the raising of these funds, the obedience.
And what else I'm asking,
hold on.
Who is the head of
I would not know. I am not an obedient. However, we know.
Are there a political party in Nigeria?
They are not a political party. We know that Obedience are not a political party.
We know.
Hold on. We know the truth. The truth is clear. In the words of...
But I don't know.
In the words of the former lawmaker.
It's only Labour Party that I'm aware that's a political party in Nigeria.
It is visible to the blind and it is audible to the deaf. The Obedient movement raised funds to support P2B in 2023. This money, there were even issues after because these monies were not given to Labour Party. They were given to themselves. They raised this money amongst themselves to support him. And the Labour Party had a problem with it and said, why is the money that is being raised for our candidates being given to people like Aisha Yusufu for one? You know, there were these issues.
No.
So these people are claiming...
If you tell me that Peter Obi is a symbol for the youth, I will agree. But I would not agree that you say Obedience are actually a political party. No.
I did not say.
They are probably a supporter group supporting the ambition, aspiration of Peter Obi.
I have not said anywhere that the Obedience are a political party. What I have said is an independent
that he wants to step in here and let's hear him.
I think the issue here, in the world of politics, why the Labour Party chairman of Lagos State is complaining about the influence of Peter Obi going down due to the recent losses in the election. I believe this is coming from the point of, like you mentioned, the Obedience movement are still active. Peter Obi still has his fan base and whatnot. But then the issue here is, where does he actually belong to? If he has that influence and is still as strong as it should be or as it is said to be, then he should belong to a particular place. Because then all the Obedient movement would not matter during the general elections or during elections. Okay, who are you?
Matter during the general elections?
Yes, in the sense that when it comes to the ballot boxes, when it comes to the ballot paper, there wouldn't be a slot saying
Obedience. The Obedience is a movement of the people.
They know Peter Obi as an individual. Peter Obi cannot run the country. No, he has to have a cabinet, he has to have, people under him. So I believe the reason when he left PDP, he chose Labour Party for a reason.
Political party.
I agree.
And if you are a flag bearer for a political party, anybody who is supporting you lies behind you. And if the Obedience, Obi, that's from the name Peter Obi. Now, if he's leading a political party.
I agree.
And if you are a political party.
I agree.
And if you are a flag bearer for a political party, anybody who is supporting you, singing the hope on your mandate, we shall. Now, what is the message from Peter Obi? Is he saying that you can be in Labour Party and be playing anti-party as you are in the Obedience? You can actually belong to other political parties while you are in the Obedience. That is why Kong is calling for him to be direct. Speak to clarity and don't confuse your followers.
This is a conversation for the political class. The common man does not care about these conversations.
The common man is an electorate, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. The common man does not care about these conversations, who is in these conversations, who is in Labour Party. Some of them will say, where is Peter Obi? Well, that's where we are putting, and they say, Mama, it is here. And that's where they put their thumb, that's where they thumbprint. But that's exactly what I'm saying, that these people seem to be out of touch. Because this is a conversation that is held within the political class, where you say that because of this, people will not do, but you are not the people. And we cannot speak for the people.
But then
the electorate need a structure.
No,
and
you cannot speak for the electorate.
If the electorate need a structure, that means that they need a leader.
This
if
is
the
what was said in
leader
2023.
is not consistent, how does he manage energy, the political energy, going forward into the 2027
This is a
election?
conversation that holds within the political class, but not with the average Nigerian who sees and who comes out and says, this is the candidate I want to support. And then the primary question is, this is my candidate.
I think we need to throw this question open to Nigerians. Do you still believe that people, when Father Mbaka said, hope is coming in Imo State? And at the end of the day, Hope Uzodimma, who came forth in an election, is now the governor of Imo State, till date. So one will ask, do politicians use prophecies to test the political ripples around in the country?
Politicians do not use prophecies to test anything. What they use is religion, and we know they use those very, very well. Personally, I don't believe in things like this. Okay. Personally, however, we've seen that these have the capacity to shape narrative, especially where people see one person as our daddy, and whatever our daddy says is the right thing, and they will believe it, they will follow. Peter Obi was accused in 2023 of utilizing this or exploiting this rather to his advantage, because a lot of people saw, okay, this church has said, this church has said, this church has said, so follow our daddies wherever they are going. Sure. And so we know that religion has the ability to influence how people vote. However, in this particular case, when you say a prophecy, and a prophecy comes with might, if, condition, I think that sounds more like a prediction than a prophecy. And this person, might have a future in analysis or,
Mohammed, political declaration and prophetic declaration.
Well,
which will we take care?
I think we're all having the wrong word starting with the letter P. I think it's all about psychological gameplay here. Yeah. These stipulations he made here is that it says, okay, the clerical prophecy mentions a divine condition that could cost Tinubu his victory. So he has not made the full condition, making a speculation. And then as things unfold, he would make his declaration towards the end,